I want to talk to you about the processes that are followed when staff, be they teaching or education support staff, want to refer a student to the wellbeing team. You can see in front of you there that slide, and what we've done is broken them into two very rough categories. On the left, you'll see that we're talking about referrals, and on the right, we're talking about a wellbeing crisis. This is the language that we would like staff to use when alerting the wellbeing team to concerns that they have about students. And as is suggested on the slide, a referral is a situation where there is a less urgent need for intervention and where the student's safety is not an immediate concern. Where staff urgently need the assistance of the wellbeing team because there is a concern for student safety, either the student for whom or the student that has the wellbeing concern or students around that student, the language we want staff to use is crisis. We want staff to very deliberately say there is a wellbeing crisis. So let's unpack each of these two different scenarios. So as indicated in the previous slide, a crisis is where the safety of students is at risk. That can include things like a disclosure of self-harm or suicide. The diagram below explains what steps we would like staff to take in the event of a wellbeing crisis. The first thing is to send a message to the General Office and to use the phrase that's indicated there. There is a wellbeing crisis in such location. When the wellbeing staff arrive, we'd like to get a briefing from the teaching or education support staff who are dealing with the situation, and then at an appropriate time for information to be documented on campus. I'd also like to talk about what staff can do in these crisis situations before members of the wellbeing team arrive. And the advice is that if we are dealing with students who are struggling to regulate their emotions, who may be behaving aggressively or who may be extremely upset, try and use a very low and slow tone of voice and indicate active listening if the student is talking to you. The other situation, and this is the bulk of circumstances where staff pass on concerns to the wellbeing team, is what we call a wellbeing referral. There are a number of things that staff must do when they are making a referral to the wellbeing team. The first point is that you must document your concerns on campus. There's a template there called General Wellbeing Observation, and we would like staff to also pin that to the student profile. I'll go through how to do that once I've gone through these slides. You must also email members of the wellbeing team, the relevant sub-school leader. So for example, if it's a junior school student, the head of junior school, or vice versa for senior school, and a member of the principal class. In this instance it would be Catherine McMahon. We also recommend and strongly encourage staff to come and discuss their concerns with the wellbeing team. But for it to be a referral, it must be documented on campus, and the wellbeing team must be alerted in an email. This slide just very briefly gives you an overview of what happens when the wellbeing team receive a referral. We make an assessment of the situation according to the needs or the risks presented by the concerns raised. If we feel the student is at risk, we'll take immediate action. Students who are in a less urgent need of wellbeing assistance, we go through a process of case management allocation, which happens on a weekly basis, typically on Monday mornings. And Whatever follow-up we take, we'll provide those notes where appropriate on campus for all staff to see, but in most cases we will detail the actions that we take with a wellbeing case note, which has a level 3 access, which is limited to the people that you can see indicated on that slide. I just quickly now want to go through and show you how to use the templates on Compass. So if we had a wellbeing concern about a particular student, say this particular student, there was a wellbeing concern, you would go to student chronicle entry, and this is the template that we want staff to use: general wellbeing observation. Classify it as you see fit. Typically when staff are referring to the wellbeing team, it'll be amber, possibly red, maybe grey, and just provide us a brief overview of the concerns that you have for that particular student. Now, I mentioned before that we want that pinned to the student's profile, so I'll show you how to do that. So once you've filled in the information there, you can save and close. I'll just point out here these 3 levels. If you were to select that level, then all staff could see that. If you were to select this level, it would be those staff involved in student management and the wellbeing team and principal class. If you were to classify it as level 3, it would just be principal class, the leading teachers in charge of sub-schools, and the wellbeing team. So I would recommend that this would be the most appropriate category, unless of course there was really confidential information that you thought should be restricted. So once that concern is there, we also recommend that it is pinned to the student's profile. Now you can put an end date there. I'm not recommending that in these circumstances. And when you pin it, you can see that it appears there permanently under the chronicle summary. So that way, if this particular student was to have more chronicle entries and this wellbeing observation was to be bumped down the list, staff can still find it very easily by clicking on that, and it will appear here. Now, if you have any questions in relation to this process, please don't hesitate to ask us in the wellbeing team.